All right, guys, welcome back to the stand. I am Lee VanDenBrink. Normally, if you've been following along, you've been listening to Jay, bring these messages to you guys. Unfortunately for you guys today, I messed up. I forgot to get in touch with Jay. We forgot to film for what is tomorrow's episode. Today is Thanksgiving. So I got to spend a lot of fellowship with the family today. Had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys today, as you're listening to this, again, release every Friday morning. Hopefully you guys are on the way to the stand. Hopefully you get to enjoy, in Michigan here, we're getting dumped on with snow right now. So it should make for a really beautiful sit tomorrow morning. But yeah, it's exciting. We're getting towards the end of deer season. You may be catching a little bit of rut action, which is pretty exciting. I personally am probably, mainly done for the year. I shot my target deer here in Michigan. I have not seen another mature deer come around, have no other targets. I also have a baby due within the next 2 weeks. So I'm, doing my daddy duty at home. I'm good with it. I successfully harvested one of the elk behind me this year. If you guys are watching this, you can kind of see I've had a good year. Elk, mature deer in Michigan, which is pretty hard to do, and a good deer in Kansas. So good year. But yeah, I'm filling in for Jay today. And I can tell you guys one thing that this this is not my comfort zone. I'm good with talking in front of camera, but when I realized that we did not have an episode ready for Friday, I was like, oh no, either we're just not gonna have an episode or I gotta do this. Yeah, I struggled with this a lot, mainly because Jay's been delivering these really good messages, and I looked at, okay, well, if I deliver a message tomorrow or a devotion, then it should be pretty easy because today's Thanksgiving. This is releasing the day after Thanksgiving, so like I'll just talk about being thankful. How hard can that be? So I was actually in my barn this morning working out, and I kept just trying to think of what message do I bring to you guys today? And I just kept trying to be in the easy message. I'll just knock this out, and this is going to be a very quick and easy message about being thankful. Lines up with Thanksgiving, no problem. Needless to say, my heart was not in it, or not allowing me to do it. Maybe it was God saying, you have a different message to bring to people today. So I just sat there. I'm like, well, I could not think of a message to bring about being thankful, besides your stereotypical, be thankful for this, be thankful for a good season, healthy family, all that. So I just sat there. I'm like, what do I talk about? And honestly, part of me was I'm still what I consider in my journey with my faith. I'm still actively seeking God. I'm trying to get to the point where I feel like I can say I'm a good Christian. I do good things. I'm a good representation of what a Christian should be. I'm seeking that. I've been a Christian my whole life, but I would say the past year or two I've actually started to seek the Lord. And as I was reflecting on that, I thought man, today's, when you guys are listening to this, it's the day after Thanksgiving, and what kept popping in my mind was normally, this is when my mom, my aunts, some of my uncles, definitely not me, or my dad, we would be in the tree stand today, the day after Thanksgiving. But a lot of my relatives and a lot of people, back in the day would be going out and seeking Black Friday deals. So I kind of thought of that in my head. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, this is kind of the Black Friday, or it used to be Black Friday. Now it's kind of Cyber 3 weeks before Thanksgiving and Cyber 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So I don't even know if people go out and do Black Friday shopping anymore. But I was reflecting on in the past, like the family would meet for Thanksgiving, all the wives, all the ladies in the family, they would gather around and they would just lay out, I mean, just newspaper after newspaper, pull out all the ads in there that had the little, like MC Sporting Goods or Dunham's or Macy's or Target ads. And they would just like, they would actively just go out there and seek for that like deal of the century. And so I was like, maybe I have something here. So that's, this is what today's message is about. It's about seeking. So again, this is truly my first time ever delivering some sort of godly message to anybody. So bear with me. I have my notes here. I'm sure I'm going to stumble, but we'll get through this together. This is kind of why I felt moved to talk about this, because a lot of us, are in the same position as me. We're always seeking the Lord. So let's start with bringing this to on the hunting level. This is a hunting company, so like Jay does a really good job of flowing between real life and bringing it to relevant speaking terms of hunting, which is like how my brain operates. So let's talk about what we're all seeking. Let's say we're all seeking a buck, or we're all seeking a big deer when we go out hunting. And what seems to be pretty common through the industry is, people from the outside, especially with social media these days, people from the outside can like watch whoever it is in the industry, or maybe a friend that they're always killing that big buck. They're like just that guy that goes like year after year. You're literally just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram and you're just waiting for the day for him to post that deer of a lifetime that you would just be tickled about. That's what we as hunters are doing. We're out there and we're seeking these bucks or these deer. And again, there's always those guys that just seem to like always pull through. They're always producing. They're always, having that amazing grip and grin photo that we all want to post and share with our buddies and get the mount on the wall. Like, that's really what we are seeking for our end goal. And so I wanted to bring this to a Bible verse from there. And Proverbs 13 verse 4 says, a sluggard's, which I had to look that up, AKA a lazy person, a sluggard's appetite is never filled, but the desire of the diligent are satisfied. And I'll admittedly say, like, as I've realized that I'm gonna be, talking to you guys about, seeking, I started Googling scriptures that talked about seeking the Lord. And that one like really stuck out to me in the beginning, is because like, again, let's bring it back to hunting terms. If you are lazy with your hunting, but you're expecting all these big goals of harvesting these big deer, or always harvesting or repeatedly harvesting big deer, but you're lazy, like your appetite is never filled. In other words, like the way I see that, or the way that I translate it, is like if you're lazy with hunting, like, yeah, you could get that neighbor could push a big deer across the property, or a hot doe could come run in front of you and you could capitalize on that. But like realistically, most of the time, you're not shooting big deer. You're not doing the extra effort. You're not putting in the extra effort to potentially harvest these big deer. But then again, it goes into, but the desires of the diligent are satisfied. So, like these guys that like we look at on Facebook and social media, always killing big deer, but they're always doing the work for those big deer, year round. They're either, I mean, again, that could be from one extreme to the other. They're either putting boots on the ground, public land, searching for those big rubs, hanging trail cameras, looking for those community scrapes, looking for those acorn flats right next to the thick stuff. Or when it comes to a private land setting, like you're putting in food plots, you're going the extra mile, doing timber stand improvements, you're creating bedding areas, sanctuaries, You're creating these travel corridors through your property so you're not infringing too much on it. Like you're doing all these things outside of hunting season. So again, but the diligent are satisfied. And what kept a person that kept popping into my head for this example is actually Don Higgins. If you follow social media, you know who Don Higgins is. Very successful hunter and very successful habitat manager. He runs seems to be a very godly person too. But he's been so successful at killing 200-inch deer. I think it was only a week or two ago he killed. Don't quote me on this, but it was like his fifth 200-inch deer. Like most 90% of people don't go a lot. They'll never go their entire life with even like seeing a 200-inch deer, let alone maybe a 150-inch deer. And he's been like repeated success at killing these 200-inch deer. I mean, that's a magnum of a deer. So it's safe to say that he's dedicated himself and he's seeked out everything that it takes to continuously hunt, continuously put himself in a position to hunt these big deer. And it really like also made me just kind of reflect on like, where do we sit with our religion? Are we the hunter that just goes into the woods, just kind of are we those sluggard hunters that go into the woods and just expect big results? Or are we Don Higgins and we're continuously seeking these big deer? Or are we continuously seeking the Lord? I reflect back on my entire journey as a Christian. My whole life I've been a Christian, but my whole life I haven't seeked God. I haven't sat at the table the day before Black Friday sales and like truly seeked out to get the best deal. I haven't, honestly, when it comes to like my hunting, even like I haven't always done that extra work. I've wanted these great results, but I haven't to achieve these great results. And so it's funny how this all just kind of comes together. And like actually, I have all these notes here, and half of me is just not even following these notes right now. So this is all just kind of coming out naturally. But again, I look back at my life of just going through the motions of being a quote unquote Christian. And you always hear like our pastor, church that I go to, the pastor always talks about like he's good at calling us out as Christians. We all say we're Christians, but what is a Christian? Like what does it mean to really be a Christian? Like I'll use myself as an example. I'd go to church on every Sunday, or try to go to church every Sunday. I would recite a prayer at night or at the dinner table, and again, it was just we would say the Lord's Prayer. I say the Lord's Prayer with my family, and it's just saying that it's another check off the list. And I'd tell people I'm a Christian. I always felt like I was just going through the motions. I was never truly seeking the Lord. So again, I like to bring it back to hunting. Are we just going through the motions? Are we putting up a camera on our property? Maybe putting in a food plot? We kind of play the wind. Are we doing the bare minimum and expecting a 200-inch deer? Or could we be seeking a little bit harder? Could we be putting a little extra effort into our timber stand improvement? Could we be reading the Bible maybe 5 minutes out of the day? Could we truly be seeking what we truly desire? So then it kind of led to me to start searching the Bible again. I actually put my phone away at that point, stopped Googling, and I just started like flipping through some Bible verses that I've highlighted, and it's funny. I just opened the Bible, and here we are at Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. But from there you will search again for the Lord your God. And if you search for him with all your heart and soul, you will find him. I love that. I'm going to read it again. Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. But from there you will search again for the Lord your God. And if you search for him with all your heart and soul, you will find him. And not to pick on Don Higgins. I've been a fan. I have nothing bad to say against the guy, but it also made me actually reflect on him again. Again, he's a very successful, kills 200-inch deer on his private land. But I actually listened to a podcast not too long ago of Don talking about how, one of his, he's got a goal. Don't quote me on this. If this is wrong, Don, I apologize. But he said, I remember hearing him say, like, a top goal of his is to kill a 200-inch deer on public land. And so, like, I really reflect on that for a second. And again, it was crazy that it just like kind of came to my brain. I just listened to a podcast not too long ago of him saying that. And I'm like, he's killed several deer on, his private land, property that he's set up perfectly for deer, and hunts it the correct way. And he comes out and he says he really wants a 200-inch deer on public land. So I'm like, how bad is he really seeking that? How bad are we really seeking God? Is that truly what he wants? He's proven to be like very successful in private land. But is he going out and seeking that on public land, or is he just going through the motions? Is he just going out to pieces of public land, hanging a camera like we all do, and just hoping to find that 200-inch deer, hoping that 200-inch deer comes to him? Or could he be, honestly, like we look at it as life too, is like we want to be the best Christian possible. And again, I'll bring it back to Don as an analogy. He wants to kill a 200-inch deer on public land. But is he just going through the motions and kind of just skipping by and not really devoting his everything to that goal? Again, bringing it back to our spiritual life is like, we want to be a Christian. And I can truly personally say for myself, this was me for years. And I just didn't know how to get past this. I felt the calling to do more, to expand my faith and get closer to God. I just didn't know what to do at all. And it can be so simple. It truly can be so simple as just starting to read the Bible, maybe every morning when you wake up with a cup of coffee. That's what I personally started liking to do. I try to wake up before my kids wake up. It's nice and quiet. I got the coffee, like as I'm walking out in the living room, the coffee machine's beeping, saying it's going on, or it's finished. I grab a fresh cup of coffee and I just simply do a devotion for the day. Maybe it could just, maybe in your spiritual journey, it could just be try going to church on Sunday. Maybe it's just one Sunday. Go there, pick a church and just go. Maybe that one doesn't work out, go to the next church. Just little tiny things, continuously seeking God. So the last verse that I actually had to go back to Google for this one, and at this point I was kind of just half curious of like how many times the Bible talked about seeking God. How many times did it calls it out? And I think I ran through ChatGPT or something like that, and like it didn't give a clear answer, but I think I read one thing that I think it was like between 70 and 90 times the Bible has verses talking about seeking the Lord. I just thought that was interesting, but came up to Jeremiah 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I read that and I was like, man, it could not be any, it truly is that simple. When you want something, when you want that 200-inch deer, you go out and you do everything that it takes to get that 200-inch deer. You're knocking on doors, you're traveling out of state, because I can tell you right now, most likely there's not a 200-inch deer within 70 miles of my location right now. So like whatever it takes, like you're going out and you're you're seeking that 200-inch deer. So again, why aren't we doing that with our faith? Why we as Christians, why aren't we seeking God with everything that we have? I honestly like look back at like when hunting season comes around, like it has my full attention, like way more attention, admittedly, than it should. What if you just like took half of that attention that you put into that we put into these deer, just half of that back to God? It's funny, as I've gone through this spiritual journey and started, what I consider finally seeking the Lord, it becomes so easy over time. Honestly, it was a week of just reading the Bible every morning. And I felt this urge to continuously seek and continuously learn more. I want to read this verse one more time, and I'll wrap this up. I could have been rambling here this whole time. I have no idea. But Jeremiah 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. That's powerful, and it sounds so simple. Just pour our heart into something, be passionate about it, and seek him with all your heart. So appreciate you guys' time today. I hope this speaks to somebody. It really, again, this is the first time that I have done anything like this. I can talk to a camera. And again, I've been a quote unquote Christian my whole life, but this is like way out of my comfort zone to share my my faith with who knows how many people. So I appreciate you guys listening. Again, I could have been just rambling on, but hey, I'm on my own journey. I'm just like everybody else. We're all seeking the Lord. So good luck. It's probably pretty cold, most likely. You're going out this morning if you're listening to this in the morning. So stay warm with a deer blind. Again, we're getting towards the end of the season. Continue seeking that buck. It's really never too late, and continue seeking God. Pray that you guys have a wonderful rest of the season. I pray that you guys had an awesome time with your family or friends, or even if you're just sitting at home relaxing yesterday. It's fun taking a day that makes you reflect on being what you're thankful for. And again, I tried to base this whole message off being thankful, and it's not where God led me to do that. So God bless. Appreciate you guys listening. Again, not normal for me to be on here, but every Friday, most of the time, we'll have some guests on in the future for sure, but every Friday, Jay delivers a great message, and we call it, again, he's gone over this, but we call it To The Stand. So it's like, when I reflect on that, it's like, to the stand is, we're seeking God the whole time. We're on our way to the stand. We're on our way to the cross. We are on our way to the pearly gates of heaven. So again, thanks for guys for listening.